Mhm. Can we see that okay? Can we good? That's good. That's good. We see it okay? Ow! Uh-oh! Dropped it. Dropped it. Hello, today. It is time to be joined by Sky, the marketing guy.
I love it. Thank you for having me on, Mr. Kastle. How are you?
I'm swell, dude. I'm so happy to be doing this. What happened? Oh no, shoot. Oh crap. I made everything go away. I minimalized all my I was like, oh crap, I lost everything.
Yeah. StreamYard, there it goes.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Thanks for joining. The end. Hello and welcome. The end.
Yeah, it's the 3-second marketing that you see on the TikToks and the YouTube Shorts and all that.
You ever watch South Park?
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
It was like, and it's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. It's what a weird world. And South Park almost like right from the start started like not exposing from the start, because at the start I think when South Park first came out, like all this, like when Cartman was like when he had that voice, I didn't like South Park. But then when it started getting smarter, and they started like kind of
they got a little bit more clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Damn Kelly, beefcake, all that stuff. I was not a big fan.
So you're a few years older than me. I remember my dad staying up watching late night. I love watching late night, like Johnny Carson and all that. But I remember a specific one where they were like talking about like, oh, there's this cartoon where they kill one of the characters at the end of every episode, and that being like a really controversial thing. And me, right. I'm like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, maybe. And I'm like, well, they kill Tom and Jerry every episode. Like, what's the bit like?
And also, like every video game, you die every video game. Like, how many times has Mario died?
Right. Just into the lava. Bloop.
Sometimes I treat life like it's a game of Mario. You know, like the first time you ever played, the first board you ever play, like. There's like that little mushroom guy that comes across the screen, and like sometimes he'll kill you the first time.
Right.
Every time. You'll die the first time, but then you get a second chance. You get to go back. You jump right out of the way. You smash that guy, and you break those two little question mark things. And you're like, all right, I'm on my way now. Like life is always a second chance to get out of the way of the mushroom guy, squish him, and break those question mark blocks.
I like that.
And then eat some shrooms.
Hey, to each their own. For some people, that's their medicine, you know?
Well, I mean, it doesn't make everybody grow like it made Mario grow. Darn it.
Right.
I wish I could grow like that if I ate some mushrooms. I think if there was a steroid for gaining inches in height, oh my God. If we could market that somehow, we'd be zillionaires.
I think it'd be easy to market it. It's, it's the science behind it, you know?
Yeah. Like if we could actually get that off the ground, that idea really has legs.
That's great. Cory, you might be a better marketer than you're giving yourself credit for, man.
Oh, I love it. Well, I mean, I say pretty frequently that my sense of humor is like popsicle stick jokes.
Right.
Like, and anything where people are like, oh man, I had that same idea, but I never said it out loud. I think that's like, hopefully the pocket that I exist inside of that where growth can come out of. Like, I got to make it work to my favor. But what it might be doing is it's just brightening up some days of people. More than anything at the moment. really bring a positive side to things. Man, if I can't get off the idea of mushrooms that will help you grow taller. Darn it, I
Sure.
can't stop thinking about that.
I mean, imagine, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Power with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I think Jamie Foxx is in it. And there's a pill in it where they can take a pill and it gives you superpowers, and you don't know what superpower you're going to get. It's unique to each person, and you get this power for like a minute. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a cop, and one of the rules is you're not allowed to take the pill. Well, he decides to take the pill, and for him, it makes him super fast and super strong, and also bulletproof. So of course he gets shot, bullet ricochets off him, he saves the day, and his chief's like, "Hey, you can't take that if you're going to work here. Like, you're fired." And he's like, "Would you rather me be dead?" So just kind of a cool concept. I thought it was a really neat movie. Cool film.
When did that come out?
That's probably 5-6 years old, I imagine. It's on Netflix. It's got Fox in it. Jamie Foxx is one of my favorites. Like, if I could switch lives with a famous person, he's on my list to switch lives with. Well, he was on my list. He had a stroke or whatever. I'm not trying to trade places with a stroke, but
you really stepped in it there, didn't you? Really stepped.
So
no, Jamie Foxx is
amazing. He's like, "I'm not talking to that service guy anymore. Forget that."
I love Jamie Foxx. He's such a great actor, and dude, that they clone Tyrone movie. He was so good in that.
Great movie.
I have nothing but great things to say about Jamie Foxx. I loved In Living Color. That show was I mean,
fantastic.
That was such a great show.
He even had a vampire movie recently on Netflix that was pretty good. I think it was Midnight Shift. The Midnight Shift. It was pretty good. Snoop had a little Snoop Dogg had a cameo in it at the end.
I think I saw it, but I've seen so much stuff since then that I probably let it. It made its way outside of my brain. We're in a culture where we are constantly consuming things, and there's so many things that we consume. This is the most consumer generation, the most time we've ever had, more information and more TV shows and movies and distractions than we've ever had in all of history.
Yeah.
So
me being into marketing, one thing that we were, me and my marketing friends were talking about is short form videos, like TikTok, YouTube has shorts, Facebook has shorts now, where it's programming us to be ADHD. So not only are we consuming more than ever, but we're consuming more nothing than ever.
Meaningless.
Yeah. I mean, you used to go into the workplace and compete against people who had no distractions for 8 hours and everyone's grinding. Now you go into a workplace and you just put your phone to the side, you're going to win. Yeah, you're going to win.
Yeah. Just a scroll hole environment.
Yeah. I really try to limit the amount of time I do, or if I'm on there, I'm searching for something specific, I'm looking for a marketing thing or whatever. I'm kind of nerdy that way. So,
and it's easy to go, oh, this is just part of my job. This is just part of I'm doing research. I'm just learning stuff. I'm a broadcaster. I got to learn these things. And then you're just scrolling and you find yourself lost. And then it's tomorrow before you know it. you didn't sleep all night. You were scrolling the whole night.
Guilty. It's happened.
It's all of a sudden tomorrow and the sun is out. Welcome to this new day. Now, are you going to get up and do something? Or you're going to go back to sleep? Most of the time, I'm going to go back. I'm going to just go, oh, shoot, I didn't sleep. Why don't you try to just get a few Z's in?
So that's probably where I'm different than most people. I mean, it's, I'm pretty structured through my day. So even if I had a bad night's sleep, it's like, you just got to go do it. I won't be able to rest because I'll be thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I can get like that sometimes, but most of the time, if I lost on sleep, I'll want to make it up and I'll want to sleep in hardcore. I have a sleep in disease that I call disease.
That was the best popsicle stick one you've had. Yeah, that's it right there. You nailed it. Well, it's different for you too, because you're in the wrestling business, right? And it's not just like the mental fatigue. Like you got to physically be ready to rock and roll,
Yeah,
right?
man. I mean, it. I gotta constantly remind myself to stay sharp physically, and you can't stay sleeping and be productive at the same time.
Right. Maybe you could help me with that because I've been when I played football when I was younger, never had trouble losing weight or being at a good weight. When I quit playing sports, I exploded like a can of biscuits. It was like pop, you know. But really, the last 5 years, I've kind of kicked it in gear. I've lost almost 100 pounds in 5 years. So 20 pounds a year,
That's
not
inspirational. Yeah,
nothing
that's not.
crazy. That's not a crazy number, 20
But I
pounds
mean,
in a year,
but
but I've been
don't
consistent.
minimalize it, please.
Yeah.
Celebrate that. You did that. That's not something that
Well,
a lot of
at
people
one
can just like
time,
let their stuff get out of control, and you have
yeah.
some control over it. So,
Well, and I did let it get out of control. I was making good money and all that good stuff. But I remember stepping on the scale and going, wow, I'm closer to 400 than I am to 300. And that was like a scary thing. And then it was probably another 25 pounds before I started
but
to do something about it.
you know, you know what the next generation of this planet is going to say? That scale's being a real bully. It's
Right.
shaming you.
Right. How dare they body shame me?
Cancel scales. Let's cancel every
They
scale.
should have just put on there, plump. Not obese, I'm plump, so but maybe you could help me with that. Like, so I've been hitting it really hard since Labor Day this past time.
Mhm.
And I'm starting to feel some really, really great results. The way my clothes are filling out, and I've kind of gotten away from looking at the scale. I'm really just trying to get into a certain size of shirt and stuff. But is there any like tricks that the wrestling guys do that would help me shred a little faster?
Steroids.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, perfect. I'll take the steroid and the mushroom and the
Yeah.
power pill, and I'll be okay.
No, no, man. You just gotta stay dedicated, man. You just gotta worry about your. I think sometimes it's like I want to kind of be a motivation to myself in order to uh not misrepresent myself to myself. You know what
Right.
I mean? Being a hypocrite and to myself. I guess it's more of like it's like a accountability to yourself. Like it's a discipline, or it's like a so it sucks because I do get into the modes where my motivation is for absolute shit. Like I have to have structure, and I have none. At the moment, I'm working 2-3 jobs that are like, who knows when this is going to be, and I don't know what hours in the
Right.
day or the night I'm going to be. So it's not like I wake up at the same time every day and I go to bed at the same time every night. It's like
Right.
I I work out at midnight, dude. I go to the gym at midnight. So I'm my structure is really bad. So I for you to just ask me advice, for me to just like speak advice, I'd feel like I would just be disingenuous because I lack structure myself, sir.
Okay.
Like I I can't stand here and go, everyone listen to my advice on how I gain and keep discipline, because my discipline slides off real hard when my structure stinks.
Gotcha.
Especially recently, and this sounds like I'm just making excuses, but I was recently sick, and I fell off going to the gym for a couple days, and then I lost control. Can of biscuits, like you said,
Yeah.
can of biscuits rolling down a hill.
Dude, it was like the moment I like literally like, okay, football's over for me. I'm not going any further with it. This is life, whatever. It was like the next morning I got out of bed and it was like 20 pounds.
But also,
20,
like, you're somebody's dad too, like,
yeah.
so you can go like, oh well, like I just gotta be a good dad now. But also when I think about that, then you go like, then I'm like, oh, I want to be a good role model or whatever, some
Yeah.
sort of, because like I don't have kids, but I know that if I did, it would be like I would be holding myself under a microscope because I know that they're going to.
Yeah, especially as they get older. Like my son's 7, and
Mhm.
he'll be like, he's seen me. I don't know if he realizes how much weight I've lost since he was born,
Mhm.
but he sees me do stuff with his little sister that I didn't do with him.
Mhm.
And it's, it is what it is. It's just, I wasn't in the right place at the time,
Mhm.
and my wife tells me she's like, you're your worst critic, it's
But
like,
what he's also lucky enough is to be able to like live to see you be able to do that.
right.
Like some people's like their parents do a bad job with them, and then 30 years go by, then the parent like adopts a new kid or has another kid with another like a new wife or something, and they're like, oh, he didn't treat me that good, oh, he didn't do
Right.
that with me, but now he gets to see you can still play with him too. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he's like
Oh, now I
ripped
coach
off.
in all of his sports since he's been playing sports since he was 4. I've coached all of his sports. I go to every practice, every game. That was one of the reasons I became self-employed, was to be able to do some of that too. And
It
you
did
know,
sound like you said office sports office like
yeah,
like like stapler football paper like
yeah. That
that would be.
literally, if I'm not if I'm not at work, I'm doing something with my kids.
Mhm.
Kids will change everything for you.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you're so lucky. All that free time, no
All the
structure. You know,
yeah,
you get
it's
to
it's
chase all your dreams.
idle hands, man. I uh, it wreaks havoc on productivity sometimes, you know. I'd rather that it didn't, but I can find myself unmotivated because I have no real structure. I have no real like wake up every like I don't have a certain time that I'm going to record my podcast at all during each day. It's not like I'm doing this every single day, but I'm like scheduling
Well,
I'll
the
record a
podcast
bunch,
thing is different though, because sometimes you
like
know this
it's
from
guest
like,
availability. Yeah.
yeah, it's the time zone thing too.
Right.
Like
Yes, of course.
I just interviewed a lady in South Africa, and it was like a 12-hour difference. It was crazy.
That is
Normally I don't do podcast stuff at 9 a.m.
crazy. Well,
you know,
it's strange, man. Like I think I told you the other day I did one with somebody in Ireland or something, and our time difference was 5+ hours, or
yeah,
it was something like crazy, and I was like, oh, like this would wreak havoc on my structure if I had one.
yeah. It's one of those things, And so I think that has been an adjustment for me, because I am kind of like Mr. Control. I got my little structure, my habits, my pattern.
Mhm.
And then like this podcast stuff, people are like, so like, yeah, what do you feel about like 11 p.m. tonight? And I'm like, I got to be up at 5, but yeah, I guess we'll do it, and you just try to put on the face and be happy and cheery about it. Um, so it's just one of those things. I think it's, you got to give to get, right? So
Mhm.
if you're wanting to make that connection with somebody, or, for me, this is also a really fun thing, right? It's like kind of that stress relief, whatever. Just kind of a nice, different little change of pace too to do. So got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it. A lot of people, when starting to talk about doing a podcast, will be like, "There's so many podcasts out there. Everyone's got one, and blah blah blah," and they use that as an excuse to not do it. But a
Yeah.
lot of the time, the people who do have podcasts, all the billions of podcasts that are out there, that are just people who give up after the first 2 or 3 episodes. Like people, it's not that everybody has a podcast. I can walk through my daily life and run into 1,000 people, and maybe only 20 of them have podcasts.
I would say even that's high.
Yeah, that's 20 is the most podcasting people I've ever met. I'd
Yeah.
say maybe 10, maybe at the most 10.
Yeah. And what I would tell the people who quit after 2 or 3, like there's a whole community where it's not a competition. Like none of us are competing for listeners. It's not like television where, Fox competes against CNN. It's not like that. It's a community where like it feels like everybody's there to help each other. It's just a totally different thing that I've ever been a part of, because even in business.
Me, dude. Not for me, dude. We're competing hardcore. Your success is my failure. Absolutely. Across the board. I suck if you're good. If you're good, I suck.
Yeah, right. I've known you for 5 minutes and I can tell you you're really not that way.
No. I don't think that any of us can compare ourselves to anybody else. Like
Right.
there's absolutely nothing about you that is just like everybody else. Your perspective is yours and yours alone. Like no one's ever walked a mile in your shoes, even for a second.
So, like, one thing you mentioned before was like cancel culture and all that. Has that affected like your like the wrestling business?
Oh yeah.
Like how different is that now compared to like
Well, I mean, did you hear the big news that just came out this week?
no?
You didn't? Oh, well, Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE,
Yeah.
he had to resign because like he had all these rape allegations and stuff.
Oh
Oh,
my
can
God.
I not even say that? Do I have to blur that out? He had all these SA
I don't
allegations?
know.
SA?
Who hosts your stuff?
Who hosts my stuff?
Yeah.
What, the company that I wrestle for? I don't wrestle for Vince McMahon.
No, I'm talking about your podcast. Like mine's hosted at
Oh,
Anchor,
I put oh yeah, it's on Anchor and it's on
and it's everywhere else.
on YouTube and
Yeah.
on so
I think you'll be fine.
I think that like it's weird to think that like there's certain words that like can't be said anymore because like
Right.
YouTube censors it and like keeps an eye out for stuff. Like I was
Right.
trying to like think about and I think I just talked about it with my friend Justin. We talk about how people have to say unaliving themselves
Oh, that's so weird.
because the S word
Yeah.
automatically gets you censored.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's like people are supposed to call unalive yourself hotline. I don't get
Right.
that doesn't make any sense. And I think I've made this joke a couple of times, but I don't know if this is gonna make any sense. Like the people say now they say unhoused instead of homeless, like as if somehow
Right.
the word homeless is offending somebody. Like,
Right.
are we worried about offending bums? Like, do you think like a guy is like sleeping on the corner with his smartphone? He's sleeping on the park bench and he's like, "Hey, say unhoused."
Right.
Hey,
It's like, wait, you better not say that. You don't want the unhoused guy to be offended. And it's like,
you don't want to. He doesn't want to. You don't want him to come after you and cancel you.
yeah,
Gonna
I
get,
mean,
gonna get canceled by an unhoused guy.
yeah, I think we live in a culture that's a little too quick to be offended. And like,
go through the daisies.
you've always got to consider like the other person's intent that you're having a conversation with, or the person. It's kind of like a stand-up comedian when they're delivering a joke and there's 100 people in the room and one person gets offended.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the one that gets offended, you need to ask yourself a question. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
why did you laugh at all the other jokes and that was the one that offended you? Like all those other people who, it's like, like as a comic, I would say, like,
by the
not
way,
everything I say is for every one of you. What's up?
I think you would kill it as a stand-up.
Oh, thank you.
I really think like your personality, dude.
Well, I started doing stand-up. I started doing open mics. I started doing them back in like 2008.
Really?
And yeah, and I was doing like I'm constantly writing stand-up, but I haven't been back up on stage in like the last 9 months to a year, like doing any sets because like I'm working so much and like it's so inconsistent. So like if I could get something remote, like if I could get something where like I know it's going to be like Monday through Friday, I'm going to be here doing this, and then like I know Wednesday nights I can hit like some mics and then try to get some shows in. I got kind of tired of doing open mics as well. Like I don't want to go into the city and do open mics and kind of like weed through that political system too all over again.
Right.
So I love comedy. I love comedy just as much as I love pro wrestling. Like those are like my biggest passions. Stand-up comedy and
How
pro
different
wrestling.
is the energy from one
Uh,
stage to the other?
well, the thing about comedy is it's the same reaction, like an instant crowd reaction, except like when people laugh, it's almost like Monsters Inc. When the canisters get
Oh,
filled up, right?
yeah,
When people react in like wrestling, when people pop, it's still the same. It's the same energy. Things get filled up, but like I'm not risking getting hurt. No one's
right.
punching me in my face. I don't have to take any of my clothes off. Like all of it's great. There's no there's
I
no
like that.
risk to no physical risk unless someone decides to try to rush the stage. But I don't think anyone will do that to me.
Yeah, I
I
think you're
mean,
the last person.
they I mean they could if they want. They can
Sure,
try. They can absolutely try.
that's
That's
awesome.
I would say I always said like when that thing first came out with Jamie Foxx and Chris Rock, or not
Mhm.
Jamie Foxx, Chris Rock, with Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Right,
And uh, I did a show somewhere, and I said, in my business, in professional wrestling, if you come into the ring and you lay hands on me, I can legally kill you, and it'll be fine. So like. I'm already prepared for that in my life for the last 20 years. So like if you want to meet me with that same energy, you can find out, or you can just sit down and enjoy some jokes.
right. And it's one of those things like if Will Smith really felt that way, like felt like his wife was being disrespected or whatever it was, it's
Just
like it's
protest too much.
it's like, dude, you probably have Chris Rock's phone number or your people can get a hold of his people and you can just squash it outside of the
Mhm.
awards. Like
But
you got to
like
always
also,
consider like how big of an idiot are you making yourself, you know?
like and also like a slap, like like on the like if you go up to him and slap him backstage in the face, like that's a different thing. But like
Sure.
slapping people on stage at that's like
It's kind
so
of feminine, right?
it's I mean, I guess it could be looked at as like a pimp slap or something, but
Sure.
I mean a slap they call it a bitch slap because you're a bitch who's doing it. Like
Right.
sure, if you want to imply that the person that's getting slapped is the bitch, go right ahead, but you doing that is kind of a little bit of a bitch move, right?
Right. Oh, 100%. Now, in your business, like if you and the other guy had that planned or that was scripted, that's probably going to be good for both parties in a sense, right? Because
Yeah,
there's,
we want to
because
build
you
up
got,
interest to get
we
get
love to
people to
build that conflict, right?
right. Yeah, we want to build interest so people will want to watch us fight, like pay to come watch us do a have a match, a confrontation, watch it, come to a head.
Have you ever had somebody surprise you with something like that where it wasn't like you weren't on the same page as them and they pushed the envelope on you?
Um
Does that happen?
mm,
Is that a
I
thing?
mean it does happen. It's not happened recently that I can think of. Um I mean I nothing I can no examples I can think
Okay.
of that kind of thing going on. But I know it has happened. I've seen that kind of thing happen, but nothing that I can think of the details on. I think I watched they had like a guest ring announcer at an event once where the guest ring announcer wasn't smartened up to the business and didn't understand that like we're working characters
Right.
and the heel wrestler was saying how he was the best and he was the best looking guy at the show and blah blah blah, and the ring announcer tried to grab the microphone back from the wrestler and the wrestler wouldn't give it to him, so he punched the wrestler in the face, uh, and like concussed him, like like it was
Like, dude, you just cost me money. Like, I'm in the middle of something.
like dude, I would have been super upset if I
Yeah,
was the guy who
to
got
say the
punched.
least.
Like, what? who are you to employ this guest ring announcer and not smarten him up to the fact that like this is what this is?
Right.
Like people are going to say stuff on the microphone that they don't mean. They're just saying it as their character.
How often, like, will you go like backstage afterwards and like giggle with the other guy? Like, dude, I can't believe you went all the way there with that.
Um,
Maybe giggle was the wrong word.
it's a little bit like that, but yeah, there's not like
Right.
but it's like yeah, we're proud of each other. Like we'll definitely talk about like moments that were highlights of it for sure. That happens. I would have to say almost every match. Like you get in the back and you talk about what the best parts of it were, for sure.
It's a whole different world, man, that you're in. Whole different world.
It's I don't know, man. I wish that I was able to eat a mushroom that would make me taller. Then I would have gotten a job that I could that I could become a full-time wrestler every day of the week and get paid every day.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah. I mean, you don't look like a short guy. I mean,
no, I'm not short. I was just
yeah.
If I was taller, I would have already gotten signed a long time ago.
Is that a real thing in wrestling?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you think about like the tall guys, right? Like Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant. I mean, that's a whole different thing. The Big Show, another guy that's the whole different thing. Undertaker, he seems like a tall guy.
Yeah, he's like 6'10".
The mayor from Knoxville, Kane.
Kane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always hoped that I'd grow to be like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". That's the ideal height that I wanted to get to. But I stopped at 6 foot. Darn it. But my friends who are shorter than me, tons of them all the time, they're like, you got nothing to complain about. You're tall. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
But everybody always has got somebody to compare themselves to, going, that person's bigger than me. They got everything figured out. That person's better looking than me. They've got it all figured out. That person's in a relationship. They've got it all figured out. But the way I look at it, birds, they've got the entire sky. Some of them still get hit by cars. Not everybody's got it all figured out.
Wow. That's a good way of putting it. I like what you said at the beginning of us talking about being a fan of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I think more people need to give themselves permission to be fans of themselves.
I run my private OnlyFans account, and I'm the only member.
Just $7.99 every month on your card for no reason.
Yeah. I'm
just tipping yourself and just taking a fee. They just take their little cut.
Yeah, it's like I'm just paying OnlyFans for me to run a page that only I can see. Get your blood money all you want. OnlyFans.com.
That's an interesting business when you talk about marketing, because they tried to get away from all of the pornographic and everything, and and then their evaluation came out of how much money they were worth, and now I don't know if that's back or not, but I know that they were talking about getting away from it, and then I don't know what happened with it, because I'm not a subscriber or anything. But
I had this really big idea to host a website that was only like people cosplaying as the nanny from the TV show The Nanny, and I'll call it onlyfrans.com. You think that'll hit?
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a very niche audience, but it only takes a couple.
With something that cracks me up when I think about it a lot is in the song they say she had style, she had flair, she was there, and that's how she became the nanny. Was the style and flair had anything to do with her needing to be the nanny? She was there. That was what was important. That was what was most important, is that she was there.
Right place, right time. Yeah. That's awesome.
So what's the main, this is a weird question. I'm going to try to get it.
No, hit me with it. And you can let it be weird. Weird's okay.
Like, do you have people that are like your motivations in the way in which you see them do a thing and you're like, I could see me being that person, having that level of success that person has, but it be me having that success? Do you have any people like that are figures in your life that like kind of drive you towards your own personal successes?
So I think what inspires me more is when I hear about somebody overcoming something, and then like, or even like perseverance, where it's like, well, what does that person have that I don't have, where I couldn't persevere through what I'm trying to get to? Because the business model that I have, I don't know anybody else that has it. I'm sure there's people out there that do what I do, but I don't have like a personal relationship or a mentor relationship with them, because I do social media management, creation, and then coaching. And then I do some other sales stuff with other companies too, but sales training and things like that. So it's not like, there's a uber famous, you can see all these people on Facebook and Instagram, like, I'll 10X your business. They just kind of say crazy stuff. I've been to a few of those kind of conferences, and there's only a handful of people that even stood out to me where I'm like, I'm taking that. I like that. Most of the inspiration that I get is from people like you, Cory. Like, just like when you said, hey, like, you're a fan of yourself, like, in that you don't want to come off a certain way, or, you normally not wear a hoodie that has your stuff on it, or, the yellow hat, because the guy made the picture with the yellow hat. And it's like, I like when, like, you saying that you were just going to go ahead and do it, like you were giving yourself permission to be a fan of yourself. Like, that's more inspirational than, Joe Schmo who has $1 billion company. Like good for Mark Cuban, right? Mark Cuban, multi-billionaire, whatever.
They named marketing after him. The marketing was named after Mark. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just making that up.
Yeah, but like Mark,
still right to the dirt sheets. Tell him that I said Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban came up with marketing.
Right. But like, even somebody like him will tell you, like, it takes a little bit of luck. Like, he's had interviews where he's like, yeah, I could be a millionaire again, but I don't know about billionaire. He's like, you got to get a little lucky, So I don't know. To answer your question, I'm a sports guy, so I love stories of athletes that were like the underdog. Like Jeremy Lin is one of my favorite athletes of all time. Guy, no Division I offers, ended up walking on in the NBA. Had a really, really spike of a career for the Knicks, and then bounced around the league for a while. But that's a guy that a lot of people wrote off, and he ended up becoming a champion.
Do you want to say that he dribbled around the league?
Yes. Yeah, he was passed around the league, is the way to put it. So, so like athletes or whatever. I mean, that's kind of my shtick, I guess.
Did you ever see The Cable Guy?
Oh, one of my favorite movies all time.
When they chuck him the ball and they say check it, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
He checked it. He made sure it was all right.
Hey, Steven. I love that part too.
Steven.
It's one of the very beginning things where he's like, fill out my what's he call it? His something card.
The survey card. Yeah.
Yeah. Fill out my survey card. I'm kind of perfecting it. And he has that like lisp when he says it.
Kind of
I just love the irony of somebody with a speech impediment asking, like, saying that they're a perfectionist. It's just great. That's a fantastic like character, and that did a lot of marketing for cable. That's one of Jack Black's first big movies, by the way.
I love it. Yeah.
I love Jack Black. Yeah. One of my favorites.
That movie is that's one of my top. That's one of my most quoted movies. If you could find like a compilation, go through like a compilation of all the episodes I've ever recorded, you'll hear me talk about Cable Guy like probably 1,000 times.
Yeah, I love Cable Guy. I wish they would have done a sequel, like where he was getting out.
Streaming guy.
Yeah. Here to install your wireless internet, or whatever would be the next thing he's doing.
But that movie, he totally called it in that movie when he was like, you could be doing this on that channel and then doing this on the other channel, play video games with people in Hong Kong. He was like
with a friend in Vietnam. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He was nailing all the actual future.
That movie is literally the only reason I want to go to the Knights of the Round Table and have dinner.
Oh, I went to the medieval times, man. I went there. Yeah. And the whole time I was there, all I kept going was like, the Green Knight, the Green Knight, the big one. You're going down, down, down. Red Knight going down.
I love the little banter between him and the waitress when she brings the drinks. He's like, can I get some silverware? She's like, there are no silverwares in medieval times because there was no silverware. She's like, but they had Pepsi? Yeah, it's just great. It's just a great little.
She's like, I don't know, man.
Matthew Broderick kind of downplaying that character too, where you kind of feel sorry for him, but you also like love watching him get terrorized.
Mm-hmm.
Cinema Bliss, very good, very good. One of my favorite movies too. I was surprised you brought that up.
Love it. I love it. I have to say, man, like I think 90s comedy movies, like I gravitate towards 90s comedy movies. Like I think I'd want to make a movie that was like what the comedy movies of the 90s were like. But that can't exist now, I don't think.
Yeah, there's stuff that you just can't get away with now because of the cancel culture. Like one of my favorite
fragile times.
One of my favorite movies. Have you ever seen Dirty Work with Norm?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I was just quoting it yesterday.
Great movie.
I actually, I just quoted it yesterday. I was talking about Rebecca Romaine was playing the bearded lady at the circus.
Yeah,
and she goes up to Norm Macdonald and she says, "Hey, baby, have you ever made love to a woman with a beard before?" And he goes, "No." "Well, you haven't lived until you've made love to a woman with a beard." And he pulled out the tape recorder and he goes, "Note to self, I don't want to live." And then the cameo by Adam Sandler when they were eating the brownies for the test of brownies.
Oh, and yeah, I forgot all about that.
Adam Sandler was the devil, and he was spinning the pig on the spit. He was like, "First we eat the pig, and then together we burn."
Yeah, I think that was actually like Chris Farley's last movie, if memory recalls.
Probably, yeah. When he was the Saigon
horror, nose bit off.
Could be worse. I could have my nose bit off by a Saigon whore. He's like,
right,
you bastard.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't make a movie like that. You couldn't. No. You know, look at the stuff Adam Sandler's doing now. Like, you know, he's not getting away with what he used to get away with. You know, it's just
it's pretty squeaky now.
Yeah,
it's pretty straight down the middle.
Yeah, he's got some weird movie coming out called Spaceman here soon, where he's like on this space shuttle and he's on it for 100 and some days by himself, and an alien comes and visits him. I watched the trailer, so that's one of my favorite things to do. Is the marketing person in me loves. I do like short content, and I think it's a real art to put together a trailer that makes somebody want to watch a movie, right? Mm-hmm. But this thing looks so weird that if I do watch it, it's only because of Adam Sandler. No other actor would I watch in it. So,
I've been wanting to do a thing where, where I'll just go on Twitch or something and watch a compilation of like movie trailers live, and just have people come on and join me. But sometimes I'll just do it with my friends. We'll just sit and watch some trailers together. But it'd be cool to do it with people on Twitch or something. If you ever wanted to join me for doing that, that could be fun.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite little, if I got 10 minutes to kill where I can't really watch something, it's like, instead of scrolling on my phone, sometimes I'll look up, hey, what are the new movies coming out? And it's like, if they get me to watch that, if it makes me want to watch it with a little 2-minute clip, they've done their job. Like, and if I'm still not sure exactly what the movie's about, like if I feel like I know the whole plot, then you've given me too much. It's an art, man.
Uh, I I I think that movie trailers, because TV isn't as big of a thing anymore as it used to be.
Yeah,
Movie trailers aren't, but movie trailers aren't as big of a deal as they used to be. Like
that's
people
true.
don't focus as much on the movie trailers because like everything's streaming, and only thing they show commercials for are like things that you can have commercials for, not like movies.
Right. I
Um,
remember being a kid and like you'd go to the theater and it's like coming out June 1996, and you're like, oh, that's 18 months from now. Like, now if you see a little clip of something, it's like it's coming out in 30 days or less
right.
on average. On average.
It's a quick turnover period. Like every scratch has an itch immediately these days with anything.
Yeah.
Like like remember like storylines in wrestling. I know you might not follow wrestling, but they used to last for like a year. Now
Well,
they
yeah.
last for
When
like
I
a
was
week.
when I was younger, yeah. I mean, I remember being a kid and it was like turning on, Raw every Monday or whatever,
Mm,
and it was like Stone Cold, like going at it with Vince McMahon for what seemed like forever.
right.
Like
Yeah.
what I mean, and like what kid doesn't like watching somebody who looks like their dad beat the crap out of a guy in a suit? It's great.
Little kids also little kids don't know what it's like to have a boss, but they do know what teachers are like, and teachers are kind of like
Right.
bosses for I I have a real problem with people referring to themselves as like boss bitches.
Yeah, it's
Like I'm
weird.
in charge. I'm a boss bitch. I'm like, every boss I ever had, I hated. So
Right.
not like maybe be like a cool supervisor. Sometimes supervisors are kind of cool, but bosses are kind of always a jerk.
I remember.
I'm a supervisor bitch.
Yeah, it's like I remember when I got into management, there was an older guy that was working on my team, and like he invited me to go to church with him or whatever, so I did, and he's like, "This is my boss," and I'm like, "No, me and Rod work together," and like I tried real hard to like be on the same because I really wasn't bossing him around, like. I think that's where a lot of like that. I think that's one of the reasons why there's so many people doing the quiet quitting is because they don't want to be bossed around. Nobody likes being told what to do. I mean, I don't
No.
know anyone who likes being told what to do. And it's like if you can't level with somebody and be like, "Hey, this is the mission. We got to get this done today between the two of us." Most people will pony up and be on your team.
Right.
But when
But
you're
you also got to be willing to lead by example.
right,
Like do as I say isn't working as well as do as I do.
right.
Like let's carry this load together to
Also, like,
get
you
it
know,
through the finish line.
not trying to get too businessy, but like as minimum wage goes up, we're going to see a whole resurfacing of jobs that have more commission and more incentives because employers don't want to pay an hourly rate to get this much production. I'd rather just you get the job done and then you get, whatever.
Mhm.
Like you get this reward by getting the job done.
So they're gonna get a nickel for every quarter pounder sold at McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get down to that, but we are going to see a whole rebirth of incentive pay for people. We are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the McDonald's jobs, like the fast food jobs, that's gonna like so everybody knows like a fast casual restaurant, right? Like Chipotle, Panera Bread, these places. I think everywhere is going to be going to a fast casual model. Like my
Mm-hmm.
kids, I can imagine my daughter who's 4 coming home, 20 years from now, right? 'Cause she ain't allowed to go on a date until then, right? But she comes home and she's like, "Dad, he took me to a place with waiters." Like that's going to be a fancy thing in the future. That
Mm-hmm.
we are going to go into a society where either robots are serving us or we're serving ourselves.
Well, the sucky thing, I'm gonna speak on this as being a waiter right now. Uh, it's not, um, bro. I get so annoyed with how people talk to us
It's
and
awful.
how people like if you talk to your server like shit and then you also don't tip well, like, don't even come out to eat.
Right.
Like,
Like,
don't
why
go
did you
out
even
to
come? Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially, dude, like, especially, like, people come out with gift cards, and then they spend the gift card and don't leave a tip. God dang, man. Being a server has been breaking my heart a lot recently, but it's not like breaking my heart to the point where, like, I'm hurting on the inside. It's just like I don't like, I'll take the good and the bad together at the same time. So if like a table doesn't tip me or something, the next table I get, I'll still stay nice and stay
Right.
real kind because, like, for the most part, I like to see people smile. I like to see people happy. So
Right.
I I I think a lot of servers do a lot of complaining. I think a lot of people who are working are just doing a lot of complaining, and that has not seemed to be helpful at all.
That's
There's just
fair.
tons of complaints all the time.
Yeah, I always tell. So one of the groups of people I trained for a long time were door-to-door salespeople, and I would
Mhm.
teach people to do it the right way. And one of the first things I would ask somebody is, "Have you ever had a serving job?" And if the answer was no, I was 50% less likely to hire that person.
Oh.
Because it takes that attitude that you talked about where
Mhm.
somebody just treated you like absolute crap and you
Right.
got to put on a smile and walk over to that next table. It's the
Mhm.
same thing going door to door. And, the fact of the matter is, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And
Mhm.
so many door to door people get taught the wrong way to do stuff. I'm sure there's servers that get taught the wrong way to do stuff. Right. And it's, when you know the right way to do it, it won't be so up and down. It'll be more, you know,
There's this weird thing going on where, like, being a server isn't my favorite thing, but, like, it's what my job is and what, like, like, the bulk of my income comes from being a server.
sure.
So, uh, like, when I know I'm not not that I'm not that good at it, like, I am okay at it, but, like, I don't like constantly reinforce, like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, it's okay, I suck at this." I don't like thinking like that.
You
I like
should.
thinking I'd rather think, like, I've made a difference in some people's day, like, some people have the ability to go back and go, like, "Oh, no, well, that one server was pretty cool." I mean,
Yeah.
it's not super rewarding work. It's pretty thankless. But, like, I hope I made one joke that someone's gonna tell later. Somebody's gonna steal
Sure.
that joke. I love a good stealing one of my jokes.
I think this, man, especially with like older people, who maybe their kids don't come see them or whatever it is, and they decide to go out to eat that night. And if you're their server, you might have been the only person to say a kind word to them all day. I'm sure it made a difference.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
sure.
I always compliment on people's clothes. I'm like, "Oh, that's a rad shirt. I love that hat." Like, I always say something because
Sure.
compliments are free. That's why they're called complimentary.
Right. 100%.
I just made that up. You can have it.
We got to put it on a t-shirt.
I I said this one line on stage once, and it got, like, a pretty big pop, and I don't know why I never did it again. I said, "I love compliments, but, like, don't tell me I have nice shoes while I'm in the men's room stall taking a poop. Like, you could
Right.
just save that one to yourself. Keep moving." Like, I don't need to hear the praise while doing that.
I remember when my son was probably like 3, I had to go to the bathroom, and when you got your kids with you, you just take them with you, right? And
And
I'm
they
like,
gotta
we're in the
stand there.
stall, and
They
I'm
gotta
trying to
stand
do
there in the
my
stall while
yeah,
you're
I'm in the
trying
stall
to
trying to
get
do my business or whatever, and
yeah.
like
Mhm.
there's somebody next to us, and he's like, Dad, who's that in the room next to us? And I'm like, that's not a room. There's another potty in there. There's another toilet in there. And he's like, oh, and he proceeds to stick his head under. Hi, and it's like, oh man. But the guy laughed just like you are, so it was fine. But man, that's it's a whole different thing. There's certain situations you don't want to be talked to.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like if I'm in the bathroom and I'm like going pee or something and I'm at the urinal and I like sneeze or something, it's okay to not say anything to me. Like,
Right.
I think that there should be a sign up that has rules for urinals. If there's 3 urinals, let's say I've gone to the one that's all the way on the left, right?
Okay.
And no one's at these other 2,
I
go to
have to
the
go to the
one
far
furthest
right.
from me. Go to the
Yeah.
one furthest from me. Don't go to the one right next to me. Like, it's not like I have a problem with you doing that. It's just like that should be pretty common. Like,
Yeah.
if there's a
It's
whole
unspoken.
movie
It's the
theater,
rules.
if there's a whole movie theater full of empty seats and I'm the only guy sitting at one seat, don't come sit right next to me.
Well, now if you go to the theater, you've got to pick your seat ahead of time. That's a weird thing, man. That's so weird. You know, I was telling my wife that the other day. I said, you know, our kids aren't going to like, I remember having to call the movie theater and listen to the recording on when, like, what show was coming out at what time and being mad because I couldn't hear because someone was loud and I had to call back.
I just recently watched the Seinfeld episode where he was pretending to be where Kramer was pretending to be movie phone because people kept accidentally dialing his phone number. Welcome to movie phone.
I love Seinfeld. That's a great show. If you really pay attention to all the character arcs, like, just great show. Great show.
Okay, just a few more things, and then I'll send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. All right.
Okay. My favorite way to go into the sunset, by the way.
Yeah, you got to have a hot dog and a handshake before you walk off into the sunset.
100%.
Or ride off into the sunset. You get on a horse, you got a fresh hot dog in your belly, and someone just shook your hand. There you go, right off into the sunset. That way.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
It's a good day. Yeehaw. So something when I started the show, I'm pretty psyched on like this living on a timestamp, this being on the record. This conversation that we're having is maybe
going to be out there forever.
It's going to keep on going. People are going to be able to listen to this for the rest of my life and beyond.
Right.
So I say that to say that on the record, I want you to know that I'm so grateful that you spent the currency of your time and your effort with me here, and I'm certainly looking forward to what comes next in the us knowing each other and being beneficial resources to each other.
I'm trying to come see you at a show, man. I'm trying to come get me a Cory Kastle t-shirt and wear my yellow beanie to it, and I'm trying to get it signed and bring my kid.
Go to prowrestlingtees.com/Cory Kastle. You can get some Cory Kastle merch.
Are you wrestling anytime soon coming up where I could come, bring my son or something, check it out?
I wrestle in Delaware State.
Okay.
So I'll be wrestling in Delaware in February. I have a show, I think the 24th or something. I'll send you the information if you'd like.
Sure.
DCWProWrestling.com for tickets and information for anybody else.
Which one is it?
DCW, Dynamite Championship Wrestling, DCWProWrestling.com.
Cool.
Would be where you would go to get tickets and information.
Yeah, that's what I want to do next. Is I want to do that, and then, not that there's anything wrong with serving. Serving's cool. I think a lot of people should do it, and it definitely humbles you. But dude, with your personality and your background, I think there's something remote I could help set you up with, where
I would love
you could get a little bit more structure to your day, and I think that would help you on the other goals and stuff too. And then then you won't have any excuse to miss the gym, and then you can bother me like, did you go today?
Well, I want to have my own, like, I would love to have my own sort of like fitness center where I teach pro wrestling, like, and psychology of pro wrestling. I would love to be able to like teach some classes and have a ring and like kind of like
your own academy.
I would love that. Yeah, that's like definitely has been a goal of mine. I would love to have like, I want to have a wrestling gym that's also a gym. Like, so it has a gym built in, and then there's like a wrestling class So everybody gets a membership card, but on the membership card, it has your picture on it, and then you can pick your own wrestling name. Like have your wrestling name be on your membership card.
That's cool.
I think that'd be fun for people.
So is Cory Kastle your real name, Mr. Kastle?
No, my real name is James.
See, I've been talking to you for an hour now. Didn't even know the guy's real name.
Well, you see, I made it up for business purposes.
It's great. It's great. I would have never thought that it was a lie.
Well, it's not a lie. It's not a lie. It's not fake. It's just a work. It's just a gimmick.
It's the name of your business, right? It's your business.
Right. It's the gimmick.
Same as having an LLC or an S corp, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'd say like I usually tell people like it doesn't happen very often, but I say like whatever is in your heart to say, like because like my shoot name is James, so the people I work with for sure are going to say that, and like my family for sure is going to say that, but like the people who know me, and even like my closest friends call me Cory, and they just know me as that since 24 years ago or something. Yeah, so it's like it's just the built-in instinct to do it.
Yeah,
it's branding, brother. I've been working on this.
You've been building personal branding before it was a thing.
Right. Yeah.
Pioneer is what we call that. But yeah, dude, so, I'm appreciative of your time too, and I appreciate you having me on. So much fun just to talk about, whatever we even talked about, and a little change of pace for what I'm used to. So I really enjoyed this. It was like a little decompression. It meant a lot to me.
Well, that I was saying that to say the next part. So I'd imagine that you've probably been on lots of shows before. You've probably hosted lots of podcasts yourself. What's a question that all these time broadcasting, no one's ever asked you? What's something that you maybe have wanted people to know about you that you've never actually been able to go public with? What do we say usually I start by saying like, people always have the same, like certain questions that they go to all the time. Sure. And you've probably answered the same questions, a bunch of questions lots of times. What's one of those that like you've been asked the least?
So something that they, on almost any show, people don't really, especially in the podcast community, it's overwhelmingly positive and good vibes. And I think that's great. But I've never really been asked, like, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, what would I be doing? Right? Like, because I've been in sales and sales training and marketing since I was 17. I've been doing it, similar how quickly you got into wrestling. That's how long I've been doing this on my path. And my answer, so when I was a kid, I wanted to be a fireman. And I actually went to fire school to be a fireman. And this was during when they were changing it to where you had to be a paramedic with it. So, so I went to school for both actually, and even took my state test. I have a terrible fear of heights, specifically being on like a ladder. And then I also have a complex about my own decisions that I make. Sometimes I kind of like how we started our conversation about the, it's a video game mentality. Like if I mess up, I can just restart and keep going. Well, in sales and marketing, that's like a normal thing. Like you're going to fail more times than you're going to succeed. Once in a while, you're going to hit on something and it's going to be awesome. Well, being a paramedic and having someone's life in your hands, that's like a one-time shot. And even if you did everything right, it might not go right. And I don't know if I could deal with that kind of stress on me. But if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now that I'm a little older, a little wiser, a little bit more at peace with myself, I think that's how I would want to make a difference in the world, is by coming to someone's aid and helping them. I'd probably go back and try to get back into that. But at the time, I just couldn't get over that fear.
Well, like you have to also remember that what you're doing adds value, right? Like, so you put a fire out, you put that fire out that one time. That exact fire, you put it out that one time. But with the seeds that you're planting now, it's like continuous
Right.
continuous results. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would just want to ask you to give yourself credit on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
instead of beating yourself up and go, oh, I should have done it.
Well, and I'm thankful it didn't work out. Like, I'm thankful for that fear, right? Like, it pushed me, kind of like how you were talking about the comedy versus wrestling. You don't have to worry about beating your body up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got put in a position where I didn't have to worry about beating my body up or, some of that physical stuff, but I probably would have been healthier up till this point. But I'm hitting the weights, hitting the gym, cardio, watching what I'm eating. That's the worst. That's the part that sucks.
My
My
least
diet's
favorite
so
part about
bad.
my least favorite part about watching what I'm eating is going cross-eyed.
Yeah. But I'm trying to do the little thing, like I gave myself small changes. Like, the first thing, I don't drink sugar soda anymore. It's all sugar free. And I know the sugar free stuff's bad. The next thing I'm going to try to do is go down to like a flavored water, and then hopefully like a water or whatever, and keep the carbonated stuff for the exception, not the rule. And, like, one change I made for this year that I'm doing really good on, I've probably only had fast food 2 or 3 times this whole year. Like 2 or 3 meals. That's it. That was fast food. The rest of it's been packing my lunch for work and coming home to a home cooked meal instead of eating the fast stuff. So, I just try to make small strides.
Did I give you a challenge when we spoke last?
Yeah. You told me to quit saying I'm sorry.
No, I didn't tell you to do anything.
You challenged me. You challenged me to.
There's no me telling you to do anything.
Yeah, you challenged me to eliminate that from my vocabulary, and
Challenged you to eliminate what from your vocabulary?
I'm sorry, and to replace it with "excuse me," or let me.
If it applies,
let me be excused.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a little tough. There's been a few times I have, and there's been a few times I haven't. It's like a top of mind thing. I haven't had it super top of mind, so definitely something I'm going to try to do more of tomorrow. I'm sorry if I let you down, Cory.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be.
Right.
I don't give you challenges for my benefit. I'm doing them for other people's benefits. If I'm
I like a challenge
to you, it has nothing to do with my benefit. But if you want to accept the challenge that will benefit me, I'll throw that one at you. I'll throw one at you.
Like me,
not right this moment though.
Okay.
I'll have to think about it.
I think something you should challenge yourself on is, no matter what you have going on work-wise and podcast-wise, is to give yourself even a simple schedule. Yeah. Like, where it's, so like when I worked, one of the things I've done along the way is I worked as a business banker for a little bit, which I really hated. Business banking sucks. But
that sounds like a job. That sounds like a job that a kid would make up. And we'd say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a business banker. That sounds like a made up job.
Yeah, it's anyway. But one thing that I did learn from my boss, Patrick Dingodine, shout out to Patrick, had a huge impact on me. This guy was a guru of time management. He's the one where he really taught me how to structure my life and my day. And so essentially, he just made 2 columns. First column is A time, and column 2 is B time. A time is for making money, and B time is for everything else. And he would just draw a line on his calendar across it, and it said everything above the line is A time and everything below the line is B time. So I think even if you did something simple like that for yourself, where everything before 6 p.m. is your B time or A time or whatever, but you got to pick one of those that's for making money, and the other one's for not. That's for your passion stuff. Well, at least what I used it for was, one was for paperwork and one was for sales, but you get the idea. So I would challenge you to give yourself an A time and a B time, one for passion and one for money.
All right. I accept that challenge.
Yeah.
I will for sure think about like my.
You just got to draw a line in the sand
There's got to be some
somewhere.
structure, some structure added to
Yeah.
like the time of day that I'm productive in a work.
Monetary. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And
and that.
in like, one thing I would tell your audience too, there's a famous video of a guy named Art Williams. So Art Williams, he created term life insurance, not to get super boring with you or whatever. Um, but he always says, what's the difference between somebody who makes $50,000 a year and $500,000 a year? He says on the outside, they look the same. They got the same job. They got the same amount of kids, same house, same car. They're both successful, but why does one make more than the other? And I would encourage your audience to remember that monetary is no measurement of success. There's people out there that make millions of dollars a year that aren't half as happy as Cory Kastle. They're miserable. They got so much money that they've they've turned it into their oxygen. Like it's just paper.
I, I I love that I'm the comparison to happy. I love it. I have no
You come
complaint.
off as somebody who's happy to me.
I feel happy, dude. I love life.
You
I love
seem
who I
you
am.
seem at you seem at peace.
Well, I'm
You
glad that I give off that vibe. I
yeah,
really do. I appreciate that.
that's something I want more of in my life is peace. So, maybe
Well,
that's why the universe
if
is
I can
bringing
be
us
a
together.
resource to you in any way of that, if
Yeah.
you just need some judgment free conversation, you just need a friend to talk to sometimes, a little
Yeah.
pep talk, pick me up,
Mail me
reach
some
out
of
to
those
me.
mushrooms.
You got to do an uppercut jump at them.
Right. That's awesome.
No, is there normally what I'll do at this point is I will throw that on the record thing
Hmm.
back at you and say if there is any questions or any statements that you'd like to say to me as like on the record timestamp right now when like our first long conversation. This is not our first long conversation, but this is the longest conversation we've ever had.
Sure.
What would you like to say? Any questions or anything that you want to ask me?
Ooh, on the record. It's tough. It's tough because the things that I want to ask you aren't necessarily like I feel like I'm getting such a good glimpse of who you are that there's not it's one of those things where I don't know, Cory. That's tough. I'm stopping myself from apologizing.
You were going to ask me where I got this sweet yellow hat. I got it at Target. It was
Right there, you
$12
go.
at Target. You go get one.
$12.
That's $12 at Target.
You must be
Yeah.
swimming in the money. I ain't spending $12 on a beanie. Nope.
You ain't spending $12 on a beanie.
No.
It's a
So
luxury beanie.
one thing you'll learn about me as we continue this relationship is I'm notoriously cheap. Like I always ask myself the question 3 times: Do I need it? Do I need it? Do I need it? And if the answer is no, I usually don't buy it.
But why though? I mean, I
It
feel
comes
like
from having such bad discipline early on,
I feel
where
that might keep you like almost in a scarcity mindset. Like
so that's different. When it comes to my business, there's things I'll spend money on. But when it comes to myself personally, there's things I won't. When it comes to my family, there's things I'll spend money on. I'll get the wife and kids almost anything they want. Their comfort is huge to very important to me, to my peace of mind. But when it comes to myself, like my wife is shocked when I buy clothes. We've been married 10 years, we've been together 15, and I still have some of the same clothes that I started off with when we got together.
all right.
It's just one of those things where if it wasn't for her buying me things randomly, I would have 5 of the same black t-shirt and 5 of the same pants. And that'd be
I,
it.
I think you deserve to be able to treat yourself more. Like,
Yeah, maybe. We're going on a cruise in April, so maybe I'll
okay.
cut loose a little bit then.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's go shopping. Let's go out shopping
Right?
together. We'll get all new clothes.
I'm down, man. I'll start off with a Cory Kastle hoodie.
Yeah. I'll send
I
you a
feel
link.
like that would look. I feel like that would look good on me in the gym.
There you
Put the
go.
Kastle on there, get a little pump in.
People think you're supporting White Castle. Square cheeseburgers.
That's
Square
all I
cheeseburgers.
need is to be the big guy in the gym with a White Castle hoodie.
Damn, I wish I would have thought of that at first. Ugh.
Right now, yeah, it's done.
But I do this thing. I do the segment I call audio time travel. Right, as we talked about how this is outliving us. I like to think about 20 years into the future. The people who love you the most, your kids, stumble across this recording to kind of do a deeper dive into who Dad is.
Oh wow!
What this message you're going to say next is going directly to your kids 20 years into the future. So in 2044, your kids aged 20 years from right now are listening to this recording. The next words you say are going right into their ears. What are you saying to them?
I was proud of you at day one. Yeah, nothing makes me softer than my kids. The other thing I would say to them is I never believed in love at first sight until I had them. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you have your children, it's just there's just an unreal connection. So I guess I would just kind of leave it at that. That I'm proud of them no matter what, and I love them. And, it's love at first sight is a real thing. I didn't have that with my wife. That was like a real love that kind of grew over time. That was like something that needed to be like a flower. It needed to be, put in the right soil and watered and nutrients and sunlight and all those things. But with my children, it was a different kind of love. So
Right. When they get older, are you going to interview them on your podcast?
Ooh, if I'm still doing it, I would love that. And my hope for them is that they're in a position and that I've raised them to have the right kind of thinking where they don't think too small. So hopefully, my hope for them is that they're pursuing either something that makes them extremely happy. Like my son loves animals, and he's mentioned like wanting to have a zoo or to work at a zoo. Like I said, money's not everything. And if he wanted to just work at a zoo and work with animals and like on a low whatever, I'd be very happy if he did that. I think you got to find that thing that makes you happy, right? Or if my hope is or if they're dreaming something really big, like I hope he's not like the Tiger King, but had his own zoo, right? That would be cool too, right? So. My hope is either they're finding something with a giant, like where it's something that I couldn't even think of goal, or that they're just very happy and sure of themselves.
What if in 20 years in the future, the Lion King, or not the Lion King, the Tiger King, Joe Exotic has had like a resurgence and he's looked at as an inspirational figure now.
Yeah.
And then that phrase will have not aged so well for you to be like, not like the Tiger King.
Yeah, I'll get canceled.
He's like the Tiger King.
They're like, yeah, here's this recording of that senator with Cory Kastle talking about how he didn't want his kid to be like the Tiger King. I mean, he's not progressive at all. I can't believe some of those red states voted for him. Yeah, I don't.
He came right out and he said, Joe Exotic, more like no exotic. We don't want that.
Right? Yeah, it's a real thing. Who knows, man? I mean, it's like just like anything.
Yeah, things age in and out of. I a couple years ago. Do you know who Shane Gillis is?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
very
When
funny.
he got hired at SNL, and then they fired him before he ever started because it's something he said on a podcast. I
Yeah,
remember tweeting at that time, and I'm like, please somebody go through and listen to everything I ever said on my podcast and find something to cancel me for, or find value. Find
right.
something like you've learned something more about me, or learned something more about uh,
Well,
a
you
way to look at shit.
you see the guys that there's two ways to handle that cancel culture, and the people who apologize and they turn back what they said and they whatever. That's usually it. That's the last you hear of them. But the ones who laugh it off and go, "That's just who I am. I don't know what to tell you." They're unapologetic about it, and they're like, "Yeah, that's something I said. Maybe I
Well,
shouldn't have, whatever. But I am who I am." The people who own it, like a Shane Gillis, he's had more success than he would have if he would have stayed on SNL,
right,
and he's probably
exactly.
got more freedom and flexibility for it. So I hope somebody finds something like that on you, Cory, and lets you own it.
Yeah, put me under a microscope. I'm fine
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. Oh,
Uh, so in what I always say is, hypothetically, I've gifted you this show. This is the first episode of your new podcast called Evolving with Skyler.
okay.
In a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, the most valuable takeaways to inspire somebody to be a better version of themselves. What would you say to them?
Ooh, first thing I would tell them to do is write down the end. So figure out where you want to, where your finish line is. What's your actual end goal? Like, right. So like for me, my end goal is I'd like to wear a large T-shirt, 2X right now, but I'd like to get down to a large shirt. Right. So my physical goal is tied to a large shirt. I have an income goal, and I want my business to have a $5 million valuation. So that's my income goal, is to have my business
How
valued at
many
five.
large T-shirts are you going to be able to afford at that point? As so many.
Probably like five,
Dude, I
you
I
know.
have so many shirts. Like I get T-shirts as often as possible. Like
Yeah.
because it's like I sweat so bad I ruin them all anyway. So I'm gonna just get so many of them.
No, I
And
do have a couple dry fits, for the gym or whatever. But
right,
anyway, I would just say start at the end. So you got to visualize where you want where
your
your
big
finish line
win.
is, and
Yeah.
then you write what would you need to do to be there, right? And then I would just tell them to put that in segments, and I would needle that down until it's literally one tiny minute thing, as easy as switching from regular pop to diet pop, right? And at the end of the day, I don't know how much that's going to help me or whatever, but for me, it was a change.
Mhm.
It was a change, right? So anything that reinforces
Small wins
habits,
equal big wins.
yeah,
Yes.
anything that'll reinforce your habits to get to your finish line, you should do. So that would be the first piece of advice. The other piece of advice I would tell them is be careful who you get advice from. Not everybody wants you to win. Not everyone's your friend. It is what it is, and you'll know who, if you just listen long enough, you'll figure out people will tell you. They'll tell you who they are. So be picky about your friends and your company, and then just remember that phrase, birds of a feather flock together. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people and you look around and you don't want a life like any of theirs, you probably need to get you a new circle of friends.
If like, let's say you look at like the people who you hang out with most, like the top five people you hang out with, ask yourself, like, are they miserable? And
Right.
are they getting something from me? Did they get something from me, or do they provide something for me? Do they empower me? Do they lift me up? If not, shuffle the deck.
Yeah.
Shuffle the deck. Shuffle the deck.
Yeah, I've got
This is,
a
this is
person
the deck being
in my
shuffled.
circle that recently I've just had to be too busy for.
Mhm. Love them from afar. You don't
Yeah.
have to tell them you're mad at them. You don't even have to actually be mad at them. Just,
Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, I'll say a lot of times that I'm grateful for everybody who comes into my life, the good and the bad, because I need those bad people to show me who the good people actually are. and I need
Right.
those good people to show me who those actual bad people are. So, just as you get older, your meter for figuring that part out gets a little better.
Yeah, I think it gets easier as you get older. I mean, when I got into my 30s, it was like, oh, okay. And it's like about every 5 years, I feel like I go through a new progression where I understand things. So, but Cory, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. This has been a blast.
Yeah, bro. Thanks so much for doing this. I love it. Do you do any impressions at all?
This is going to be a bad one. I do a little bit of an Obama and
Okay.
a little bit of a Bill Clinton. So,
okay,
presidential.
The way we wrap up is in your best impression. So, in your best Obama, you say the catchphrase of the show. How we wrap it up? We say, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving."
Cory, what I'm going to need for you to do is have fun, keep it safe, and just like I did in the White House, keep evolving. 44. I'm out of here.
Okay,
Going back
I love
to Chicago.
You, man. Thanks, Obama. You're the best.
You're welcome. And with this bipartisanship, we've really crossed the aisle today and got a little closer.
Indeed. I'm looking forward to what's next.
If you like this podcast, you can listen to it. Yeah. Or you can keep it. iTunes, Facebook, YouTube's, wherever they are.
If this is your first time checking out Evolving with Cory Kastle, there's tons more episodes, tons of hours of stuff you can watch on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment. Let me know you exist. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.
Thanks, Cory. Talk to you soon, buddy.